How do you still stay on track? Because I feel like
Well, listen, it's on and popping, so tell us all about it. Hey, you guys, welcome back to another episode. We haven't done these in a while, and also we never did it with like the three of us, which is super cool. So, obviously, you guys know Taylor. This is Jordan. I am Ariel, and we're going to talk a little bit today about nutrition and basically like how we're doing what we're doing and how you can try to replicate that. So, Taylor, why don't you kick it off, because you kind of thought about this yesterday when you posted that video for everybody about how they can use, Instant Pot, things like that, like to kind of fast track how they're doing their nutrition.
So, something that a lot of people talk about is like meal prep. And what most people think about when they hear meal prep is cooking a bunch of meals, pre-packaging them in little containers, and then
like
putting them in the
cute,
fridge.
like Instagram, like different little, plastic thing.
Exactly.
Fancy.
So
They suck.
I've tried that like 1,000 times, and it's never worked for me because in the past my appetite has gone up and down so much. Right now my appetite's stable, but I just don't want to eat the same thing all the time. So what I do instead is I just prepare ingredients and then have like those extras that we talked about before on the side, so I can make different meals out of the same ingredients.
That's actually really funny. I do the same thing. I just call it like batch cooking.
Yeah.
Right? So what do you do, Jordan?
same, so similar. Like you're saying, like you get bored of eating the same thing, like chicken and broccoli and rice all the time. But if you prepare ahead of time, I know I need a protein, a carb, a veggie. I need to get those macros, micros, everything in. I pick one or two of those, batch cook it like you're saying, season it maybe a little bit like I want, and then that way I have a base to kind of build off of for the rest of the week going from there. Yeah.
I love that.
For
A
sure.
base to build off of. When I hear a base to build off of, I always think of, this is funny, I always think of Chipotle bowl.
Yes.
It has everything that you
right.
need in it. Yeah, no, it has everything
Sponsor
that you
us.
need in it.
Hey!
Three of us. We have a far reach. At Chipotle. Everybody tagged them. But that's what I think about. Like, literally, exactly what the both of you guys are saying. So, you're a big batch cooker. I'm a big batch cooker. She's a big batch cooker. That means that it works, right?
Yeah.
And also, not for nothing, when you put it all together and then you put it into the, the fridge in its container, you're stuck with it.
Right.
And that's what you're having.
Yeah.
And it's either you're going to eat it and hate it, or you're going to waste it and cost yourself a lot of money, which is obviously ridiculous. So, anyway, back to that Chipotle bowl. It has all the layers of the things that you need. So, run down those, our macros again, just so people know what they are.
What do you mean?
Just what the three macronutrients.
Oh, protein, carb, fat.
Yeah, so proteins, carbs, and fats. How do you stack those up? Like when you're trying to, so let's say you batch cooked for the week. Explain kind of that process and relay back to Chipotle bowl.
Yeah. So when you're thinking about each macronutrient, I mean, I pretty much always pick like one carb. It's always gonna be rice. And if I have the rice made, I can always bring other carbs in afterwards that like don't require that much prep, like bread or taco shells or burritos or potatoes or whatever, things that don't take a lot of prep. And then for my proteins, it's obviously always going to be meat, but personally, I don't mind eating the same meat every single day.
Oh, me
but
neither.
my wife
I like to switch
wants a
it up.
little variety
Shout out
there.
to Bryn.
Shout out Bryn. She likes some variety, and it doesn't hurt to have variety too. And then things like chicken are super easy to make in bulk. Like I always make them in the crock pot, or you could throw them in the oven or whatever. So I'll usually make two different types of protein. It's always for me just going to be a chicken, like a lean chicken breast, or a ground beef.
That's so easy.
I've been on a
exactly.
turkey kick lately.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
I get
regular or ground?
ground.
Oh,
yeah,
me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
I love ground
I
turkey.
got burnt down on chicken for a little bit, so I mean you can marinate in different ways and season it. This is where like the variety part comes in, but like the
Exactly.
base stays the same, right? The way you can flavor it and change it, add spices, that's your variety.
Yeah. So now he's given you some ideas of what you're going to use in your bowl. Now you tell us about those different seasonings that you can use, that you can mix it up, and it makes it a completely different meal every single time.
Right. So if you wanted to keep it bland, like just a Lowry seasoning, something that's just like very light, very sparingly.
Yeah, they have a lot of different
Right. And then you can do like a grilled marinade, grilled chicken. There's a lot of that are already pre-made, but like oregano, if you have actual herbs in the garden, and we have a lot of gardeners out there in
We
our
do.
community.
Yeah.
So, yeah, herbs.
Zucchini girls.
Zucchini, tomatoes, right? You can go, if you want an Italian spin, get some pesto in there, some basil, some of those cherry tomatoes, cut them up. I like to switch up like my asparagus and my broccoli, like throw some greens in there too, get those leafy veggies in there, more fiber, that'll keep you fuller longer as well.
Yep.
So that's
Micros.
also important. Get the micros in too, not just the
Get them
macros.
micros in there.
Yeah.
So
Gut health.
what I do, it literally is a mixture. Like it sounds like we literally all do the same thing. So then for me,
Weird.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Simple.
That's
Simple is best.
weird we're all doing that. Anyway, so for me, when I think about like my different, so we got our layers to our bowl, then we put the different kind of vegetables in it to really change it up. Then another step further than that is obviously the like how I season them is I always think of my food in different regions. So
There you
say
go.
we want to get we want to do Indian this night, or we're gonna do Asian or Mediterranean or freaking Tex-Mex, something like that.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Yeah.
There's 4 different things that you can do. So you cannot tell me that this
Gets
can get boring.
Yeah.
It does not get boring. We're just
Yeah.
not. Sometimes people just are not able to think outside the box, I feel like. I think that you were kind of saying something like that a little bit earlier, where just people just they get too stuck on the, oh, I saw this on Instagram, or I would have to do it like this, and this is all I've ever seen before, and then they just really limit themselves in what they can do. So what would you say are like the key things that you have to remember as far as it just like being successful with what you eat during a week?
The key things that you have to remember to be successful eating in the week, like as far as sticking to the meals
Yeah.
or just getting it done. As far as just getting it done, you have to be disciplined and you have to think ahead. As far as
Planning, yeah.
sticking to the meals, it really depends on like what phase you're in like this new journey of eating healthy foods. Because if you're brand new and you're used to eating like very processed foods and you're not used to cooking at home, there's a period that you have to go through to retrain your taste buds to get used to eating like normal foods again, because
Real food.
Whole food.
it doesn't
yeah.
have that artificial flavoring. It doesn't have all the junk in it that is going to make your taste buds like super stimulated.
Very palatable, yeah.
Exactly. So there's a phase you have to go through that isn't going to be super fun, but you have to reacclimate yourself to the taste of normal food. And then after that, you just have to learn what types of food that you like, what types of seasoning that you
Yep.
like, how you like to prepare it. Like something like chicken that I don't eat a lot of chicken, but everybody eats chicken. There are so many different ways you can make chicken.
It's so versatile.
and
Yes.
and a lot of like this is gonna sound like really bougie, but this is what my chef buddy said. When you eat food, it's the experience. It's the experience. It's not about the taste all the time.
Sounds like Anthony would say something like that.
So, but seriously, how the way the food is, like the texture of the food and the shape of the food and how big or small the food is, makes a difference in how you eat it too.
100%.
So with chicken, you can cube it, you can shred it, you can keep it in a big chicken breast, you could butterfly it. Like you can do so many different things that are going to make the eating experience different and are going to eliminate like just getting bored of the same thing over and over again.
We hear that boredom piece a lot too.
Yeah, I like the crock pot idea that you said and that you shared too, because that's a set and forget, and then that changes up the texture. Easily can season it differently to have a different flavor, like you're saying. Like
I always-
choose a region, and that's what we're doing for the next few days.
Yep.
Yeah.
When I crock pot it, I always do like a basic seasoning in the crock pot. Literally like salt, pepper, garlic,
generic.
and some Italian seasoning. And then when I take it out, like you're saying, I can throw some Asian sauces on top of it. I could put it in a soup. I could season it with like some Mexican seasonings, like cumin
Throw
and
it on a
stuff.
salad.
Which
You
I
can
imagine
do
would be
anything.
really good for a lot of our families too, like people who are
Yeah.
cooking for everybody.
Yep,
Because
yep.
that's another thing I hear a lot is like, well, I'm eating healthy, but the other person might not be on the same program. How do we eat together? Kind of like all stay on track. So if you're a mom and you're batch cooking for everybody too, you can kind of like make that work for you as well. I think.
Yeah.
A little more versatile.
Versatility is how you don't get bored.
Yeah.
Literally, that's it. Versatility is how you don't get bored. And it seems like so. Jordan, do you like cooking? Do you guys like cooking?
I'm learning. I'm still learning. So I have like, for me, kind of like you're saying, like people are going through that transition of like, getting all the processed grab and go fast things, like start with like breakfast or like whatever your greatest opportunity is for like to stick to a routine. For me, it's breakfast. Like I don't have time now to do eggs and avocado toast because I gotta run and get here early in the morning. So what am I gonna do about that? Like that's my greatest opportunity to really start the day right. So how can I plan ahead for that? I can do overnight oats with some protein, throw some fruit in that on top, maybe some almond butter. That's an easy, like I can prep that the night before, grab and go. I always do a protein shake and make sure that's got, a banana and then some kind of fat in it as well. And that's a grab and go thing. Or like packing my meals like the day before and having that. So for me, my greatest, where I get more versatile, like you're saying, is my dinner time, because that's my like longer period of time. Like I have 3 hours where I can kind of play around with it. So I think I'm very structured with certain things, and I'm a little more flexible in other areas.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, for me, like that 80-20 kind of rule of 80%, like really whole food, planned, good. And then like 20%, which might be even a little more gracious, but like, those are my more indulgent, splurge a little bit, might have a little bit more fat, a little more palatable.
Latte, girl.
Yeah. I'm guilty of that. But even with that, like if I ask, if it's at Starbucks, how many pumps of pumpkin is in that? They'll straight up tell you. They're like, okay, well, it's 4. Well, I personally like to taste my coffee as well. So I will do like 2. I will do like 2 pumps, please, and make sure it's, I use oat milk instead. Like, so there's other alternatives where you can, alter things to where it's in your favor. So you don't have to have the full sugar rush, So that's,
for sure.
I still get that hit that I like.
Yeah. I love that. I'm not ever sacrificing the hits.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. No, so why I asked that is because, I asked her if she likes to cook, and she says that she's learning, and she's like, doing different things here
I like
and
the way
there.
it makes me feel. So that's where it's like the consequences outweigh my feelings. So it's like I want to stay on track. I want to feel good in my body. So I also pay attention. I think when you start to alter the way you eat, you start to be more mindful of how food makes you feel too. So like if I go have I may be craving a juicy burger and like with bacon and all the things, and sometimes I'll let myself do that, but I also pay attention to how I feel afterwards. Like it sits heavy in my stomach. I feel fatigued. I feel tired afterwards.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Just like feel heavy.
Yeah. It just slows me down and feels sluggish, and that might mess me up. So I'm not going to do that before I go to a workout or need to be alert and productive.
For sure.
So I think when people start to make these changes, they start to be more mindful to how it makes them feel.
Intuitive.
Yeah.
And pick up on how how it feels.
Yeah.
So, again, I was asking why, or if you guys like to cook, right? Because we do have a lot of people that are like, oh, I hate cooking, and I hate to. Right.
I get it.
Just like Jordan just said,
not my favorite.
She likes how she feels when she does it, right? And then it's a learning process, and then it is kind of fun because it's a new, different type of challenge. It's not like I'm trying to get a back squat PR. It's different. It's something different that you can try that is literally just pushing you forward in your journey.
Yeah.
Did you have something to add there?
Yeah, I feel like as you start making more things, you start enjoying it more. In the very beginning, when you don't even know how to cut up vegetables, it can be a very daunting task because there's so many different foods, there's so many different ingredients and seasonings and so many different forms of cooking that it can be overwhelming. But if you just start with one thing and you learn that, and then you start developing fundamental skills that you can carry over into all these different meals, you start enjoying it more, and the food starts tasting better. You start making meals for people that are around you. They start liking it, and then you're like, okay, I'm feeling it.
I was going to say, that's how I get,
and you feel
inspired.
creative and happy.
Right. So if I get bored with the basics, which everybody does, right? We get in a slump. That's when I'll start to, look for those healthier recipes and try something different. Or just, talking to you guys. Hey, I'm kind of stuck in this. What do you guys do? How would you spice this up? You've got tons of ideas.
Shameless plug.
Tons.
Shameless plug, we have 5 million different recipe guides, so if anybody wants one, just comment below. I literally have one for every month of the year.
They're so good, too. They're so good.
Every month of the year.
And they're so simple.
Another shameless plug, feel free to ask us in the group, because we will tell you.
Yes.
That's right.
Oh, gosh. So,
all the support you need.
What else you guys got? Anything else to add as far as eating well and how that is literally part of your journey?
Oh, man.
Well,
It's
I had one
fundamental.
thing I was going to piggyback on her because she was
Sure.
talking about that burger. And one of the things that I really like to do is if I'm going to have something that's bad, I'll just make it myself bad.
Yeah.
I'll just make it myself, not supportive of your goals. Maybe a little bit off program. If you make it yourself, it's going to be much better than it would be if you just
Much
went out
cleaner.
and got it. Okay,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
in the burger example,
Season.
you could go to McDonald's and go get a Big Mac, but the quality of the meat is going to be terrible.
Dog shit.
It's going to be
Not
all
meat.
processed, super low grade meat. There's
This
going to be
thin. It's gonna be
Yeah.
one ounce of meat.
Never
it's
looks like
gonna
the
be
picture.
it's gonna be terrible, but it's also gonna be 1,000 calories for this burger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tons of carbs, tons of sugar, not a lot of protein, and a ton of fat.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you make a burger yourself at home, well, you can control all the variables. So you can control the quality of the meat that you get. You can control the amount of protein that's in your meal. You can adjust the fat levels. You can change anything you want in there, so it can still be like a cheese. You can put cheese and bacon on it if you want, but again, the quality of the ingredients. And I guarantee your body, like Jordan was saying, how like you start to understand how the food makes you feel. Your body's going to feel so much better eating that type of quality. It's probably going to be cheaper, and you made it yourself.
Yeah.
Right. You
So
know
you
what's
still,
in it.
So you know what's
can
in it.
still, exactly. You know what's in it. You can still hit your protein goals, and you can kind of mitigate some of the other things that are going to be really bad.
And it also probably doesn't cost as much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fact.
exactly.
Fact.
That's one of the things that I've been doing recently is instead of going out and getting stuff, I'll just make my quote unquote cheat meals. Like,
Yeah, replicate
I told
it.
you guys, I've been into these Asian
soup boy.
noodle bowls
So
like crazy.
good. And I
Are
don't
they-
even like soup, but it's good.
Yeah, are they super healthy? I mean, there's some things in the sauces that aren't great, but I'm not eating it every day.
Right.
So I'll eat my normal meals, like Jordan was saying, like the 80-20 rule. My normal meals pretty much all the time. And then for dinner every now and then, I'll throw in something that still has the protein I need, still has the calories that I need, but it's got a little bit extra stuff that may be off plan a little bit, but it allows it to taste a little bit different, just to kind of give myself a palate refresh, and
Yeah.
then I'll go back into the normal the next day.
Oh, gosh, I love that.
You gotta enjoy it.
Yep.
At the end of the day, that's how you stick to it.
100%.
Yeah.
Like if you 100%.
Yeah.
And then also, let's recap all the things that we just learned here.
So much.
So the first thing that I like, well, I guess we'll backtrack, is we've got our staples, like our everyday, like we do it all the time, and then our sometimes. So that's 80-20, right? So we got that. Think in regions and batch cook. And then also you got to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So like those four things, if you can just do those
Yeah.
four things, simplify all of these like crazy things that you see online. Just simplify it
Yeah.
and just do that. And then at the end of the day, you just got to execute. Like
You gotta plan it too. I think a lot of people are just very reactive, right? You get so busy. So I feel like for me, a big thing was
yeah.
also scheduling. Like, I'm going to go grocery shopping on Saturday afternoon after I do this task. I have my list. And then on Sundays when I'm going to start batch cooking, and then I can portion it out throughout the week. That way it's all there and ready to go, so I'm not reactive throughout the week. Because that's where I think people don't plan and prepare, and that's when they go out and like, well, now I'm running late and I gotta grab something. I only have 30 minutes. I better stop at this place, McDonald's, because it's convenient.
or worse, they don't eat.
At all.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the worst thing you can do. Yes. Please
God,
don't do
we'll
that.
talk about
Please
that
don't do
another
Yeah,
day.
even just
Yes.
having the ingredients is the best you can do.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily have to be cooked, but the worst thing you can do is get home,
Start there.
and have nothing to make.
Yes.
You gotta be able to have those ingredients you can make quick.
Yes.
God,
Keep
no.
it simple.
So that's a whole bunch of really great info for you guys to try to play with. If you have any questions about it, please feel free to just shoot us a message. You can reply under this, comment below, or you can comment in our Facebook group. If you're not in our group, let me know. We'll put you into it. Everything in there is free. And then, like I said, obviously, we are always here to support. So in any capacity, just reach out to us and we'll answer any questions that you have. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for jumping in impromptu like this.
Yeah, this is fun.
Appreciate you.
Let's do it again.
You guys are the bomb. That's it. See you guys on the next one.
Peace.
Stay strong.